Hello, I don't know about you, but as a small business owner, I hate this time of year. There are so many distractions from tax, end of financial year, and doing budgets. It can be an absolutely chaotic time, but if you don't get it right, it can set your business back for months. Today, we have a panel of experts to help guide you through this uncertain period. Joining us now, Debra Anderson from bookkeeping group Legally BAS. Deb, welcome.
Thank you.
Now, tell us, as end of financial year approaches, what are the key things that SMEs should be looking at?
Well, there's a few things like getting their bank reconciliations up to date, because one of the things that we want to be doing is making sure that they can go and see their accountant before the end of the financial year to make sure that they're taking up all the opportunities that are available to them. So things like making sure that they have all their employees' information in their system. So little things like their dates of birth, their addresses, their tax file numbers, because obviously we've got to produce payment summaries or the old group certificates to make sure that all of those things run smoothly. Organise the stock date. So that way we can also take advantage of things like stock write-offs, so damaged stock, obsolete stock, and maybe even decide, oh, we've got some slow-moving stock here. How about we do an end of financial year sale to clear that up? Because if we're in a profit situation, we want to be taking up as many deductions as we can.
Yep. Also, what about the deadlines? It's full of deadlines this time of year, isn't it? What are the key ones there?
Okay, so with the deadlines, there are quite a few. So the most important one, I think, is the 14th of July, because that's a pretty tight deadline, and that's when we need to have the payment summaries out to our employees. Now, we don't have to have it to the employers until the 14th to the ATO until the 14th of August, but they need to be in our employees' hands by the 14th of July. Okay, so that's a pretty tight deadline, and a lot of people don't realise it. The other one is 21st of July. If you're in the building and construction industry, you need to have your subcontractor payments out. And then we've got the BAS on the 28th of July, and also the superannuation payments.
So you've really got to be on top of your game, don't you?
Look, there is such a list of them, and depending on whether you're lodging it yourself on paper, or whether you're lodging it electronically, or whether your accountant lodges it, those particular deadlines are actually could be even more different.
What do small businesses need to do to be compliant with the new financial year?
Okay, good question, because there are some changes to the Medicare levy. So making sure your tax tables are up to date when you do, after you've rolled your financial year. Also, the superannuation rate's changing. It's going up to 9.5%. So making sure that from the first pay that you do in July, that we've changed the superannuation rate. And it's also a good opportunity to have a look at your business. And if you think you're going to be turning over $75,000 or more, and when I say turnover, I'm not talking about profit, I'm talking about sales value, it's probably a good idea to start looking at registering for GST so that you can claim some of the cost, the GST inputs on your BASs.
Okay, you look after a whole range of clients, over 100 different clients, so you're a good barometer on this. What do you see in your clients as the big stress points at this time of year?
I think one of the things is not being organised. So what happens is they get this sense of urgency. It's the 30th of June, they can see the office work sales are on and they start to panic, okay? What are we going to do now? So really making sure that they speak to their accountant and bookkeeper early. So don't leave it until, the 30th of June. My phone rings crazy on the 30th of June of people going, Deb, what do I need to do now?
So when do you prefer? Early June?
Yeah, look, the first week of June I think is a really good time. Make sure your bank reconciliations are done up until the end of May. And then you've only got about 3 or 4 weeks that you need to forecast. And you've got a pretty good idea of what your business is going to do at that point. If you're in a profit situation, that's when it's really important to go see your accountant, because that's when you can look at things like, should I bring some of the purchases forward? Especially if you're a non-stock business. So somebody like a plumber, or a consultant who their tax returns are being done on a cash basis as well. So timing of expenses and income is really important.
So how can working with online accounting packages really help your business?
Online accounting packages have absolutely changed the way that accountants, bookkeepers and small business owners work, but not just on their own, but working together as well. So now a small business can actually be doing their invoicing while they're out with a client because it's online, it's cloud, they can have their iPad, they can have their Microsoft Surface Pro and do it all there and then. But the biggest thing for small businesses is it's given them extra time. I don't know about you, but as a small business person myself, the biggest thing I need is more time in my day. And MYOB have done some research. They say that it saves 10 hours a month. I'd argue with that. I'm thinking 20 or more hours easily.
Wow.
I mean, you think about it. If you actually automate the boring data entry that small business people are doing every day, you automate that, all of a sudden, and it does it in your sleep, all of a sudden you've got an extra 10, 20, 30 hours a month.
Yeah, not necessarily to work in your business, but to get a life too.
Well, yeah, that's it.
So you can get your work-life balance back.
Absolutely. Spend it with your friends and your family. Yep. Stop knocking back those invitations to the barbecues that we're all knocking back. But also, if you want to be using that time to market your business, meet with your clients.
So what about some of your experiences in terms of small business owners who may be great at their business, but just have this pushback from doing their accounts?
I think that's most businesses, David. I think most people go into business because they're a fantastic plumber, they're a fantastic builder, but the last thing that they want to do is paperwork.
Yep.
All right. So they go into business, they just keep putting it off. And I had one guy actually come up to me last year, and he's a plumber, Sydney's eastern suburbs, and he hadn't invoiced for over 3 months.
3 months?
3 months.
What was cash flow like?
He told me that he was owed about $45,000 at that particular point. And you know why? Because doing the invoicing was too hard.
Too hard?
Too hard.
To get paid?
Yeah, well, it was just too hard to do the actual invoicing.
Right.
Don't worry about getting paid.
Yeah.
People pay if you invoice, but if you don't invoice, you'll never get paid. But what was happening is that he stopped doing the invoicing for a week, and then next week that pile got bigger, and then the pile got bigger and bigger and bigger. And in the end of the day, it just became overwhelming. So by using something like MYOB Essentials, he could have done the invoicing there and then, given it to his client while they're happy with the job he's just done, and been paid for it probably overnight into his bank account.
Yeah, it's a great lesson, isn't it?
It is a great lesson.
Just technology makes it so much easier. Don't be scared of it.
Don't be scared of it. It's fantastic. Embrace it.
Deb, good to see you.
Yeah, thank you.